Hello, everyone. I'm Omar Lunar, and currently am a graduate student at the College Counseling and Student Development Program at SUSE Pacific University, or APU. I'm also a grad assistant at the Office of Accessibility and Disability Resources at APU. And welcome to our first episode of our mini series titled DOR in 5, where you will be able to get more information of what is DOR, the services they offer, and how they could help you fund your education, or at least parts of your education. To learn this and much more, let's welcome our guest, Dr. Carmen Varela, who is the Director of Accessibility and Disability Resources at APU. Hello, Carmen, welcome.
Hi, Omar. It's good to be here.
It's good to be here as well. Well, let's get started, Carmen.
Okay.
Um, Carmen, can you please tell me who is vocational rehabilitation and why are they so important?
Yeah, that's a good question, Omar. Vocational rehabilitation, or otherwise known in California as the California Department of Rehabilitation, that's the DOR piece. They are a state agency that is tasked with reducing barriers to employment for people with disabilities. So in California, they're DOR. In other states, they're VR, or there's just some different names to them. But they exist in every state in the US. And in the toolkit, you'll be able to find a link to the vocational rehabilitation program in your state. So please be sure to look at that. And again, they're just really important because people with disabilities experience unemployment and unengagement in the workforce at about 3 times more than people without disability. So they're a really critical part of getting people ready to move into employment, and they can help with things like paying for your college, paying for any educationally related needs, and then also helping you find a job when you're ready to transition out of college and into the workforce.
Thanks, Carmen. This leads to my next question. Carmen, who's eligible for vocational rehabilitation services?
Yeah, so if you are a person with a disability and your disability is a barrier to employment, you might be eligible for services. There's a couple of other criteria, and I'm just going to kind of go over those quickly. You could read about them more in detail again in our toolkit. But if you are a person who requires vocational rehabilitation services to obtain, regain, or retain employment, you might be eligible for services. Also, if you can benefit from those services and if you're available to participate in the services. So really, Omar, the best way to know is by filling out an application.
That's very important to know, Carmen. Thank you. Carmen, how can students or anyone interested get more information about vocational rehabilitation services?
Yeah, so in California, you can go to dor.ca.gov and get more information. And they have a really rich website on there. And you can also find an application and you can fill it out and submit it online. I'm going to assume it's pretty much the same basic process in all the other states. You can also go to Disability Rights California, and their website is disabilityrightsca.org, I believe. Or you can just Google Disability Rights California, and they've got a ton of fact sheets, which you'll also find in our toolkit, about anything from eligibility to the individualized plan for employment, to educational training services, to getting to work. Anything you want to know about the Department of Rehabilitation, you'll find it there. So please be sure to look at those resources, because I think you'll find a lot of really great information.
Thank you. And just a few more questions, Carmen. What are the steps generally for applying to vocational rehabilitation?
Yeah,
This
so
in California.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. So thanks, Omar. So typically what you'll do is you will just fill out an application, put in some pretty general information, name, address, your email, your phone number. I think the hardest part of the application is when they ask you, what can we do for you? Or how can the Department of Rehabilitation help you? And so I think that's where you get to put in, I'm wanting to go to college so that I can get to work. I need assistance with funding my college, right? Or you can just simply put educational training services, and they'll know exactly what you mean. After you fill out the application, they'll set up an appointment for you to go to an orientation where they'll give you a packet of information that you'll have to fill out, and then you come back for another intake meeting. So they just want to know, right? They want documentation of your disability. They want to know your work history. They want to know, have you been to college before? Did you go to community college? Do you already have a degree? Are you working on your master's program? What are you doing? So it's really kind of the information gathering stage of the process.
Thank you. Finally, the last question of this first episode, Carmen, how long does it normally take for vocational rehabilitation services to process an application?
That's a good question, Omar. So typically they take about 60 days to process your application. That is a saying that you had all your paperwork in, right? That you had your proof of disability, that you had filled out all the paperwork appropriately, etc. Typically that's 60 days for them to make a determination whether you're eligible or whether you're not eligible. If you are eligible, then you go to the next phase, which is then the drafting of an individualized plan for employment. If you are not eligible, then they will send you a letter telling you that you're not eligible, and they should give you the reasons behind their decision. Now, if you believe that you should have been made eligible and that there was a mistake, or you want them to reconsider it, you can always file an appeal. So please just always know that anytime an organization or state entity tells you no, you always have a right to appeal the decision. So just don't forget to, don't just give up the first time. Be sure to try and do that appeal if you really believe there was a mistake or that you should have been eligible.
Thank you. We have came to the end of this first episode of DOR in 5. I want to thank you, Carmen, for being here today and informing us. And I also want to thank everyone for joining us on this first episode of DOR in 5. Thank you all, and please stay tuned for episode 2. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Omar.
See you next time, Carmen. Bye-bye.